Welcome to the Working Women's Channel. My name is Clara Capano, and we're going to share the real secrets to success. Come on in. Welcome to today's episode of the Working Women Channel. Today we are going to talk about defying the odds, bossing up, and what it means to chase your dreams. I am here with my incredible guest, Karissa. So Karissa, it's amazing to have you here. You actually drove in from New Mexico. So I appreciate that. And you are here as a boss babe. Mm-hmm. You know, you are an author, a coach, a fitness and wellness expert, and you also host your own radio show.
I do.
So, you know, I am sitting here in the presence of greatness, and it's so wonderful to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's really awesome to be live recording again. I will tell you, as a speaker, it's been a rough year doing so many virtual things. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
And congratulations, I know, are in order because you just got married.
I did. I tied the knot. I got to say I do to my best friend, and you know, someone who challenges me and supports me on every level, mindset, physically, mentally, emotionally. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so exciting. Exciting times, new chapters, so it's lovely.
Always bossing up. It doesn't matter what that looks like.
So let's talk about bossing up for a moment, because you and I actually met through a collaboration. We were co-authors of the book, Women Who Boss Up.
Yeah.
So that is how we met. And I remember, you know, meeting you virtually and hearing your story. It was really impactful. And I know that your story is going to help so many, not just women, but young women, you know, adolescents, and everybody just learn how to defy the odds, even when we feel the world is against us.
Yes.
So what I would love to do is start off by having you share a moment in your life, because we know that the road to success is not always easy. No. There's a lot of bumps, there's a lot of detours. And, you know, what was a defining moment for you that caused you to sort of wake up and say, hey, I've got to do some things differently?
Yeah. My story is not mine to keep. One of my mentors, Les Brown, told me, you know, that we have a story and it's our job to share it, right? So I do love sharing my story. There was once a time I would not have had the confidence or the courage to step up and tell you about my lowest moment in life. So 11 years ago, if I could paint the picture for you, Claire, again, it's 213 pounds, and I was depressed, and I was sad, and I was ashamed of my body, and I played small on every single level, like every level that I just want to hide and camouflage in. And my defining moment actually comes in two parts. So the first part is I was sitting in a doctor's office. I was there for a doctor's appointment for my daughter. In fact, it wasn't even for me. And she looks at me and she says, Karissa, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but you're 5 foot tall, you're 213 pounds, and you are considered obese. And I'll be honest, I was mad and I was pissed and I was embarrassed and I couldn't wait to get out of there as the tears were like rolling up. I mean, I knew I hated my body, but never has anyone been so honest with me. And that is what I needed to hear. She said, if you don't change your lifestyle habits today, you won't be around for that little girl. And I looked at her, and that's where I lost it, right? As a mama, it's important for me to show my daughter, you know, my kids, what a strong, successful woman is. And so that day, I drove home. I smoked at least a pack of cigarettes that night. I probably drank a bottle of wine and cried myself to sleep, hoping to God that I would wake up the next day feeling better, right? I was like, it'll reset. I'll be fine. You'll be fine. But it wasn't until the next day I walked my son to the bus stop. I came back home from, you know, a friend's house. It was like our morning routine. My morning routine is definitely different now. But we smoked, we drank coffee, we got home, and I sat on the couch, very much like the one you're sitting on. I looked over at a picture of my mom, and for the first time in my entire life, I saw myself as her, right? 320 pounds, cancer, obesity, lack of energy, stressed out to the max, like living her best life really for everybody else. You know, she literally gave every bit of her energy and her soul to everyone else. And I saw that literally kill her life. So that was the moment that really defined where I'm at today. I think my health is the biggest pillar in my foundation, and that's what I teach clients to do. You know, It's to take care of themselves now so that they can live a long, successful, fulfilling life. And I love it. And I would not be here today with the confidence and the strength and the courage and teaching other women how to get healthy, had I not had that rock bottom moment that saved my life.
Yeah, and thank you so much for sharing that. And there's so much in your story that I want to highlight because it's such a powerful journey. I think so many women, especially and young girls, struggle with body image issues. I know I did. I was on the opposite end where I was anorexic. So I know that sitting in the doctor's office and having them say similar things to me, it is a moment where you have to get out of denial. But one of the ones I want to really hone on here is when you talked about looking at your mom and how she was living her best life, living for other people.
Well, I think I had to shift my identity and really understand that when I take care of myself, I'm actually taking care of everyone else. I mean, people will rave about my energy. They rave about how healthy and fit I look. Just the mindset of I feel unstoppable sitting here, Clara. And that is my life every single day. But I had to shift the identity into thinking, I can't be the best version of me or for everyone else if I don't take care of me. And I think so many women struggle with that, thinking that, well, what kind of mom would I be? What kind of, CEO am I? What kind of, wife if I'm not taking, care of the kids and tucking them in at night and all of those things. What kind of, this box that society has put on us women, as working women, as mamas, it doesn't matter. I would say a tip to help women balance out that life is, to do you for you, to take care of you. I feel that I'm doing a really good job at showing, my daughter what a successful mama looks like, what following your heart looks like and your passion. And I bring her along, right? She's with me today as we travel. So it's just mixing where you can and probably setting some solid boundaries around work.
So I want to build on this idea of boundaries and, selfishness and selflessness because it's very easy to say we have to take care of ourselves. And I think on some level we all know that. But on the outside looking in, we say things such as, I need to take care of myself or I need to put myself first, but it still can look very selfish on the outside. Right. So how do you do all of this to be a role model for those around you, but not have it come off as you being selfish? Or do you just not care if it looks like it's selfish?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't care, right? I do what makes me happy, and staying healthy makes me happy because I know what it feels like to be unhappy in a body. I know what it feels like to wake up and to hope to God your hubby doesn't want to have sex because you hate your body. I know how that feels, and I'm never going back to that. And so I don't view it as selfish. I mean, literally, I have moms. They're like, I can't believe your kids tuck you in at night because you go to bed at 8 o'clock. I'm like, it's a boundary, honey. Learn it, right? And I feel like I'm always honest with people because had that doctor not been honest with me, I think too many people live in this BS life where we're just trying to be nice and that's great and all, but it's not doing anyone any good, right? So as a coach, it's my job to point that BS out when I hear it, and that's why I don't work with everyone. Right. I mean,
and again, we're not doing anybody any good by not being honest. I'm not saying you need to do it in a mean way, but if you truly have that servant's heart and you truly have this passion to serve and to help others, and I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but when I'm on the road, I still try to keep with my schedule. I bring my own food with me, and it's not just for me. It's to keep my energy level so I can serve at the highest level. And it's funny that you talk about being tucked in at 8 o'clock. I'm an 8:30 girl, and everybody laughs at me. But sometimes we have to make those trade-offs.
It is,
and that's a trade-off I've made. Is I have to trade off staying up late at night so I can get up in the morning and bring it.
Isn't that funny? I sat at so many dinner tables and cocktail parties where I was like, my phone is buzzing. It's reminding me it's time to go to sleep. And they would be like, oh, there goes Karissa, party pooper. And I'm like, well, you're sitting there complaining about your body and your life. I'm over here living my best. So I need sleep to function. I'm going to go to bed.
Amen to that. Yeah, I love that. So I know you have a radio show, you are a mompreneur, fitpreneur, you're a coach, you do all of these things, but I know that always hasn't been the case. You came from the corporate world.
Yes. Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about, your transition from the corporate world and some of the things that you carried over for good, and then some of the lessons that you learned that you tweaked being your own entrepreneur.
Well, I'm an entrepreneur sandwich. I started out in the entrepreneurial world as a tuxedo suit and cigar shop owner. It's the industry I grew up in, and so when I lost my mom and moved back to the States, I'm like, I don't really know anything else to do besides kind of go into the business that I learned from a baby. And that led me to my first corporate job, my first real job, let's say, because working for your mom doesn't really feel real. And you can yell at them and you can be late if you want to, and you're not going to get fired. So my first real job, my first real interview, I remember I was sweating like crazy. I was like, this is what people go through. But honestly, I ended up leaving my business after just 2 years. I'd finally made a profit, and a gentleman, approached me with a position, and I was like, I don't know, I was like, I know nothing about collision and all these things. And I was like, let me just sit and think about this for a little bit, because anything that I feel is really exciting is going to sit in your heart. And so it took me about a week and a half to decide. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go work for somebody else. And why? Because I'm going to learn from them. I know nothing. I didn't go to school for marketing or HR or anything like that, but I've always just kind of taken that role of like, I'm just gonna jump in and hope to God I swim. I have no reason why I wouldn't swim to the top. So there I was in this very busy corporate life. As a marketer, it was my job to build relationships, to schmooze people, to take people out, to please everybody else. Oh my gosh, was I a people pleaser. I'm like, oh, you love chocolate? When I visit you, I'm gonna bring chocolates. You have a dog? I'm gonna bring dog treats. Like, which hat do I need to wear today to earn somebody's business? And not the case on how I roll now anymore. But I loved it. I'll be honest, a lot of women have this job or this, this career, and it drains them. And mine excited me, right? And I loved it, and I was good at it. But over the years, I allowed my boundaries to slip, right? I was less at home. My kids didn't get the best version of me. I'd walk in the door, I'd be screaming, why are the shoes everywhere? And all these things that just really didn't matter. Like, I only had an hour of time with them before it was bedtime or whatever. And I chose to yell at them for things and to clean a house, and because of this image that I wanted to have. This mom that had it all together. Amazing career, husband, kids, house, hi baby, everything. And it was killing me. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I let my marriage just completely go as I was growing and developing and getting healthier, and my career was being super uber successful. My personal life sucked. It sucked. I didn't want to go home because I still wasn't connecting with my husband quite well, so we avoided it by just staying at work, all these things. And I really based my worth based on my work ethic. A collision is a man's world. I'll tell you that right now. And to feel like I needed to own that position, I had to become like this alpha female, right? I'm strong, I can do it, I can outwork any of these men. You're gonna show up at 6, I'm gonna be here at 5:30. And I allowed that to get the best version of me. And it just didn't sit well. And it came to the point where I'm like, this isn't that fulfilling anymore. 7 years, and I'm like, I've hit the ceiling. I can't go any higher. I'm already taking on 2 full-time positions in this one company. Wow. I'm working from 7 to 8 p.m. at night sometimes. And I was like, something's got to give. And oh, hello, I happen to be having a side passion and a hustle over here by helping other women just, get healthy. And so finally I made the decision to jump from my awesome, easy corporate job with a nice salary and benefits and security to not having a clue of what I was doing as a coach. But hey, that's how I live my life.
Right. And I really love and appreciate what you're saying, because, that best version of ourselves, so many of us give that best version to our work. And, we have to sometimes start to redesign or redefine, what it means to be successful, and you were in a position, I was in a position where I was fortunate enough that I had money set aside, I saved, I had people around me to support me, so I was able to take the leap from the corporate world to the entrepreneurial world. Not everybody has that. Right. But I think the message needs to be that even if you are in the corporate world, you still have to learn boundaries, and you still have to learn about bringing your best.
Yes.
So 100%. As a coach, knowing that you work with a lot of working women and you come from the field of health and wellness, what are some of the tips, tools, concepts that you are giving working women to help make sure that they're able to bring their best every day, whether it's at work or at the home front or both?
It comes down to me, is habits. I'm the queen of habit change, and will always preach habit, habit, habit. Anything you don't like about yourself or your life, you can change by changing your habits and your behaviors. So the biggest thing that I really teach and preach is I help women create habits that support them living their best life. And at first, it's uncomfortable. Of course, growth is never comfortable. And if it is, then you're probably not growing bigger, or you're not reaching high enough. But these women, they come to me and they want to eat cleaner. They want to start moving their bodies or take it to the next level, right? So I am teaching women how to food prep and plan their meals and just honestly slow down in life. I mean, get out of the fast lane for a moment and think about what it is you're actually teaching our kids and the setting that we're putting out in our environment. And it has to be you. You have to take yourself, first. And that's the biggest challenge, is getting women to finally take care of themselves. They're so used to being the mom and the wife and, the work wife and all these different positions. I'm like, how about you just wear the hat of you for a change?
Right.
So it all comes down to habits and mindset.
Yeah. And I really believe that a big part of success is when we own our own authenticity. And I think that you are an amazing example of that. You came from an area where you wanted change. You had to instill these habits. You had to be honest with yourself, which is exactly what you are bringing to your clients.
Yeah.
Shed the fear, shed the uncomfortableness, knowing that change is not going to be easy. And you grow and change every day, and you're right there with them, because I know that you really do practice what you preach.
Yeah. I do. I think that I love saying I drink the Kool-Aid that I preach. Not a lot of coaches do that. And I say that coaches as in fitness coaches. And, I see fitness professionals drinking bangs and eating crap, and to me it's finding that balance. But I literally build a life full of habits. I mean, every Wednesday I plan my food. Every Sunday I prep my food. Every morning I'm up at 3:45. At 8 o'clock on the calendar, on the dot, my spiritual practice comes into place. Like, everything is built in my life, just like brushing your teeth and waking up in the morning. Like, everything on my calendar goes in for me first, and then everything else in my life comes in. The work, the family, everything. So it's all built around my self-care practices.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because when I teach in my classes and we talk about scheduling, I teach people to change their mindset about a schedule, that a schedule isn't restrictive, it's actually freeing.
Freedom.
Because the things that get scheduled get done. And I say the exact same thing. The first thing that needs to go into your schedule is you and your life, because the reason that so many of us don't have a life is because we don't plan our life. So I like that. I like that. So another question I want to ask you is, you started off by talking about how you used to play small and you would hold back. And you have stepped into this, and we collaborated on a book that is called Bossing Up.
Yeah.
So you have gone and you even credit yourself with being a badass boss up babe.
You got
So tell me, what does it mean for you when you say boss up? What does that mean?
It means, honestly, stepping outside of my comfort zone. And I think bossing up is a habit that I've built. Like, literally, if something seems scary or like, I do it. That's the sign of bossing up for me. That's okay, I hear you, universe. I'm going to step off the ledge. I'm going to trust that, everything has my back. And I have no reason, again, not to. I've gone through trauma, like childhood trauma. I've gone through teenage abusive relationships, divorce, Hashimoto's, like everything that I have went through in my life has built me up for bossing up. And it is. I'm the badass boss babe queen that lives her best life by bossing up every day. Being here is bossing up.
It is.
Right? Writing the book, bossing up. Starting a business, bossing up. And it all takes courage, and it takes consistency of just constantly putting yourself out there and being real and just saying, screw it. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm bossing up.
Right. So I was going to ask you what you are most proud of, but I think you also just answered that. It's about showing up every day and bossing up.
It is. You got to show up to thrive. And, I do not play small. In fact, I'm like, look at me. I'm entering the room. And that's the energy that I hold. And I think it's important, though, for people to know it wasn't always, You know that. I mean, anyone who wants to go out and find me, you know that if you read my story, I was the biggest small player on the team, and now I'm the coach, the hitter, the batter, the everything, because you have to take responsibility for your life. I'm so sick and tired of women not taking ownership of their own life.
I want to talk about what's next for Karissa.
I'm going to put this out there because I believe in manifesting. What is next for Karissa? And I know by the time people see this, it's not going to be relevant, but I'm currently competing in the Miss Health and Fitness competition. That's going to be so fun. But professionally, my goals would be to write my own book. I've collaborated on 2. So I want to write my own book, giving strategies and tools and tips to help women overcome obesity and just stress. And then the next thing is I want to own stages, man. I want people to be booking Karissa Adkins for their next motivational talk, keynote talk, anything that has to do with health and wellness. I am your girl, and that's what I want to do.
Well, you own it. So there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to be sharing those stages together, and we're going to see each other on the road because it is just paving the way for us. So that's fantastic. If you could leave our viewers with, one last message. We've covered so much today and so many beautiful, important words from you. But if you could leave our viewers with one last message, what do you think it would be?
It has to be the message that I hold true and true. Follow your heart. Don't be afraid, to step outside of the box. And I just feel like your heart, it never steers you wrong. And I think the world gets so busy and it gets so noisy with people's opinions and beliefs and, family shouting into your ear that we forget what we need to do and what we hear. Like our own bodies have wisdom and we forget to listen to it. Shut down the world, just for a moment, listen to your heart, and then of course act on it. Beautiful. Action will trump fear all day long.
I love that. What a powerful statement. That's a mic drop moment right there. Action will trump fear every time. Love that. So I know as our viewers are watching this, they're going to want to follow you. They're going to want to be attached to your energy. They're going to want to hear some of the motivational tips that you have and hopefully even want to hire you and put you up on stage. So where can our viewers find you?
The best spot, honestly, is my website. It's 365dailyhustle.com. You can find coaching packages, you can find speaking opportunities, you can find the Boss Up Babe podcast, you can find the books. Like every single thing about me is on there. And I don't even like to say website because websites are boring. I'll be honest. Mine's a storyboard and it literally will walk you through depressed to awesomeness and how women can do the same.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I have. And remember, you can watch this episode and all the other episodes of the Working Women channel and get all of your clarity on my website, my storyboard, www.claracapano.com.